Hello there and welcome to Build Guys, brought to you by Guild Wars 2 Online. Today we've got a warrior build for you. It's a burst warrior build revolving around building up adrenaline as fast as possible to allow you to trigger your burst skills really regularly and really efficiently. So first I will talk about the weapon choices. Your first weapon you have to have pretty much for this build is an axe in your main hand. This is the only weapon you're really stuck to just because it gives you access to Eviscerate, which is a really powerful burst skill, dealing some really massive damage. Of course you can change this up, but that's really the skill you must have if you want to actually be able to kill anybody. We've also gone for the second hand axe as well in this build, giving us access to Whirling Axe, which is absolutely brilliant for building up adrenaline really quickly. The second weapon we've gone for in this is the hammer, which gives us the Earthshaker ability there, as well as some fantastic CC on skills 5 and 4, as well as the cripple there on number 3. A really great all-round weapon this is. I love the hammer for the warrior, but you can really mix this up. If you want a rifle, the rifle ability on the burst skill is fantastic. The kill shot, it takes a while to charge up, but it's devastatingly powerful. Mace works really effectively as the main hand weapon in this as well. You can pretty much go whatever you want with here, so this is the weapon you can really mix up to see how you want to play it. So for our healing skill, we went with Healing Surge. Heal yourself and regain all your adrenaline, and the heal is based on the amount of your current adrenaline. It gives a massive heal of 8.5k if you're in the maximum amount of adrenaline, which you're going to be in quite regularly, so you're able to get this off really effectively and get some massive healing coming in from that. You could of course switch it out and go for Mending, but we've made do without the added condition removal that Mending grants you by giving ourselves a Signet of Stamina down here. So that grants us faster endurance regeneration, and when we trigger it, it kills all conditions. It's only on a 36-second cooldown because we've got it traded, so it's really good condition removal there. Next up we've got Berserker Stance, so gain adrenaline for a short time. It lasts for 8 seconds, giving you adrenaline constantly, 25-second cooldown, and also Balance Stance there as well. Stability for 8 seconds, ignoring any incoming control effects. Really powerful two stances there. They're really effective. You have to have the Berserker Stance with this build because you want to be building up adrenaline so quickly that it gives you a good way to get up to max adrenaline really fast and burn off one of your burst skills. Lastly, for the elite skill, we went with the Signet of Rage. This grants you adrenaline when it's not triggered, but generally you can have it active because you want the Fury and the Might and the Swiftness it's going to grant you. Mainly the Fury, that's really important, the Fury buff in this build, and I'll go into why in a moment. So as far as our rune choices go, we've gone with Superior Rune of Rage for 2 of them, plus 2% crit damage and 20% Fury duration. And then the Rune of the Eagle for the other 4, plus 75 precision and plus 8% critical damage. So plus 10 crit damage there in total, and the very important plus 20% to our Fury duration. This is going to buff up the Signet of Rage quite effectively, giving us even more Fury uptime. Fury gives us 20% more critical chance. This is really important because, as you can see, we've got pretty low critical chance here in general, but a pretty high crit damage. If you factor in the extra 20%, however, we're going to have 40 critical chance, which is fairly reasonable, and we're going to be dealing some massive crits when you look at the amount of power we have as well. So for our weapons, we've gone with the Sigil of Superior Battle in the hammer, which can be pretty much whatever you want it to be. You can swap that out depending on what weapon you're playing with or anything you want to do with that at all, really. The Sigil of Superior Bloodlust is very effective in one of our axes, giving us plus 50 power each time we kill a foe. This is PvP, and each kill counts as 5 as far as sigils are concerned, so that's pretty important there. And then the other one we've taken here is the Sigil of Intelligence, giving us a 100% crit chance when we swap into this weapon. So what this allows us to do is be in the hammer and have full adrenaline, and swap into our axes and have a 100% chance to crit with Eviscerate. Bearing in mind the very high amount of power we've got is going to deal some massive damage with this Eviscerate when it's guaranteed to crit. So a really good combination there in general. Next up, we've got the PvP Soldier's Amulet with the Berserker's Jewel. So the Berserker's Jewel is quite an important part there as well, because it's going to give us a bit more critical damage. Also, the power, toughness and vitality it's going to give us is really effective. So we haven't gone for precision on the amulet, so we're going to be quite lacking in that in general, which is again why we've had to go for this increased Fury duration, having the Signet of Rage on a very low cooldown, so we can actually get this triggered off quite often and have a constant 40% critical chance, making that critical damage really worth it. So for the trait choices, we've got 20 points in strength. This gives us damage all foes at the end of your dodge roll. Using a heal skill removes cripple, chill, immobilize and weakness, so we're just giving ourselves a little bit more condition removal there. Obviously we've got the Signet Stamina there, but this just buffs up the healing surge a little bit more, makes it a bit more effective. Getting rid of cripple, chill, immobilize and weakness is obviously pretty important. Cripple can be really irritating, as well as immobilization, so that's going to help us there to avoid any incoming spike damage that might have been coming our way when they're trying to lock us down. Next up, burst skills restore endurance. We're going to be bursting all the time, so it's going to give us really good endurance uptime, getting that recovered very quickly. And then of course we've got this damaging foe at the end of the dodge roll, which is going to be able to cast more and more because we'll be rolling more because we'll have more adrenaline to spare. And then improve critical damage by 10% while wielding an axe in your main hand. So this is quite important. As you saw, we've got this 55% critical damage here. With our axes, it's only 45 when we're in the hammer. So that's pretty important there to give us that extra little edge. Next up, 10 points in arms. This can pretty much be wherever you want it to be. I went into arms with it mainly because we wanted the increased precision, which is also why we've decided to go with the gain 40 precision for each unused signet you have equipped. This is because you're only going to be triggering the signet stamina when you really need it, so that's going to help a little bit there to give us a bit more crit chance, getting us up to that 20% we've got. Of course, if you don't go this far in, you're going to have a very, very low amount of critical chance indeed. But yeah, this is pretty much the reason we've gone this far into it. You could put it somewhere else if you wanted to and maybe find a bit more effect. For example, you could go up here and get the berserker stance when you gain more than 5 stacks of adrenaline, sorry, 5 stacks of might. So you're going to enter berserker stance, which is of course the utility we've got here, by triggering the signet of rage, because that's going to give you the 5 stacks of might you need to get that. So that can be helpful. It's on a 45-second cooldown, so it's going to give us basically another way to trigger that, which can be pretty useful. It's a personal choice here. I like to have a little bit of extra crit rate, but you can pretty much go wherever you want with it. 10 points into defense, giving us extra thick armor. So armor is extra armor when your health is above 90%. Not really a big deal there at all. It's going to give us a little bit less damage taken from when someone comes in with a big attack opener, which can be helpful of course. And then gain adrenaline when you're hit, which is very important. You're going to be focused a fair amount in PvP in general, so this is going to give you more adrenaline building time. 30 points in discipline, so you gain 5 strikes of adrenaline on a weapon swap, again just boosting up that adrenaline, so we're going to get even faster. Signet's recharge 20% faster, so this is for the Signet Stamina and the Signet Rage, so we're going to have better uptime on Fury. Bear in mind we also have that 20% from our rune which isn't showing up there. We've actually got more than that 30 seconds of Fury there, so we're going to have really strong Fury uptime, and of course that gives us more condition removal as well. Next up, weapon swapping recharges 5 seconds faster. Be careful with this one. Of course that sounds great and it means we can get our burst skills off more effectively, but the sigils in the weapons have a 9 second I believe it is, internal cooldown on the sigil of Superior Battle and the sigil of Intelligence. While you're still in that cooldown, it won't trigger the one in the opposite weapon set. So do bear that in mind. It might be worth changing out the Sigil of Superior Battle if you find yourself finding this a problem for something else, so you're guaranteed to always get that trigger on the Sigil of Intelligence. So do bear that in mind. Critical hits with axes grant adrenaline. Generally just important here. That's going to give us a massive amount of adrenaline when we cast Whirling Axe. It already builds up adrenaline pretty quickly. So on a 20-second cooldown, that's going to give us nearly full 3 bars of adrenaline every time we cast that. So really powerful in general there. It's basically, as you can see, giving us lots of different ways to build up adrenaline really quickly with lots of different skills. So we've always got access to something to build up really fast and then trigger off our burst skills. Gain might for 10 seconds on a weapon swap, so getting ourselves some good might uptime there as well, a little bit of help, a little bit of extra damage. And then burst skills recharge 20% faster. So the other option here is burst skills cost less, but you don't actually really need that because we've got so many ways to build up adrenaline so quickly. We're getting those 3 bars really fast anyway, so we don't need to use that. You still need to get actually into the 3rd bar for it to trigger. It's kind of a weird way it works. Basically it uses 2 bars instead of using all 3 bars, whatever, when you actually cast it. But yeah, that's the general system of how it works. So basically I would recommend going for the burst skills recharge 20% faster though. It means you can trigger them every 8 seconds, so you're going to be getting them off really in good tandem with 2 burst skills every 8 seconds. It's pretty much guaranteed to get off if you're getting good timings on everything. We've got a few clips now we're going to watch. I'm going to run you through what's going on in each scene as we go through. So in this first clip we're on the raid of the Capricorn and we're heading towards the enemy's far point. We're going to be coming in on this node and we're going to open up with our burst skill on the hammer, so that's going to lay down a stun on everyone around. We follow up with the knockback, which knocked back one of their players and put their other player into the down state. Our teammate Guardian gets put into the down state there, but we're going to easily finish off this Necromancer, and we popped our stance, our balance stance there, so we got the stability bone, again bringing down that thief then with the burst hammer skill. Fairly effective. It was kind of a waste really, didn't really use the skill, but it's a guaranteed hit. It's pretty solid as far as any abilities go because of the AoE effect on it. It can be really targeted well. So we went in with a attempt at eviscerate there on that ranger. Unfortunately it didn't crit, we didn't have any fury up, so there's pretty low chance it was actually going to land. But we followed that up with a stun and then the knockback, which did affect the ranger. Even though they vanished, they had a trait to make themselves vanish, and we also forced that warrior away. So that's some good play. We get feared then, which has pushed us back around, so we have to cycle back again to get back on top of this ranger. Building up adrenaline once again, switching into the hammer and going for another great stun there to get those two players. Following up, trying to get a knockdown there on the ranger, but they're going to get away. We're going to chase them with the axe, using the number 3 skill to triple them, giving our teammate a chance to finish them off. We got bound by a second then, but we managed to get rid of it, using our healing skill, which gets rid of immobilizations. Coming in on this thief, dealing out some damage to them there with our whirling axe, following up with the stun in case they're anywhere still nearby. They seem to have vanished, but we've managed to basically scare them off for a moment, so we've got a little bit of leeway. We've still got control of their far point node, and we're focusing now on this warrior down here by the beach. He comes up on shore, we're able to quickly burst him down. Kind of a waste there of our 100% crit chance that we had on that axe. And that was an unfortunate moment there as well. That eviscerate completely missed that thief, but it was really strange. Actually, we were targeted on them and it should have hit, but for some reason the game made it bug out and it just went directly over them and completely missed. But the thief goes down as well. So generally this is a great bit of teamwork here in general, but you just saw the sort of way this build constantly has access to some sort of eviscerate or the hammer skill or whatever weapon you've chosen to run with. You're always going to have burst skills available. So this next scene is going to be all in slow motion as we come in on this Necromancer, going in with Eviscerate there, and he does a brilliant job of dodging out the way and avoiding the incoming damage. We follow it with Whirling Axes, which can dish out some pretty solid damage, but again he dodges, managing to avoid a lot of it. Switching to the Hammer, which lands a solid stun on him there. We burnt his 2 dodges, so we had no way of getting out of that. Follow it up with a knockback again, forcing him back, so we got some good damage, but now he pops his Death Shroud and Fear Bombs us away. That's going to give him some more survivability. We switch back into our axes. We're building up adrenaline quickly at the moment because we've got our boon on, so we're just going to burn Eviscerate while we've got the stance up. We're going to build adrenaline quickly again anyway, so we might as well just use it to get rid of some of his life force to get it down a bit quicker. And you can see it's now wearing off, and we pretty much got back up to nearly full adrenaline. We're chasing him about a little bit, but this life force is keeping him alive. We're still not doing any damage to his HP. There we go, we're back on his HP now, and he pops Plague Form, which is making him really tanky. This build he's playing, it basically relies on being very, very tanky, but also getting most of its damage out from stacking up might very quickly. It's able to do that at certain times when it uses certain combinations. So we've got to watch ourselves on his might stack, because he can dish us some pretty high damage when that does get high. Falling back, because we've got no real way to deal with the amount of conditions the Plague Form puts out. It doesn't put out masses, but it puts them out repeatedly, and we can't really cure them enough, and he's going to slowly whittle us down in that, and we can't deal enough damage to really do anything to him. So we're trying to avoid as much of the damage as possible. Falling back, burning our heal there, so that's going to get us back up to full adrenaline for when he comes back out of it. We could have built up full adrenaline, of course, beforehand. We pop our stance there a little bit early as we come in with the stun. We were trying to time it a bit better, but unfortunately that went wrong there. Again, coming in, trying to get the knockdown on him there, so we put him down into the down state, interrupting what he was channeling. Our teammate Guardian comes in here as well, and he's basically going to save our ass now. This Necromancer could pretty much focus us down and deal some pretty heavy damage right about now. He still is Death Shroud up, he still managed to get half HP. We're swapping into our axes there, using the whirling attack, dishing out some pretty good damage. But you can see he slowly just whittled down our HP throughout this encounter, which is how Necromancers pretty work, and this build is fairly weak against them. We're on fairly low HP, but we managed to get this chain going off, 3.6k there on the knockback, landing a cripple on him, getting a weakness blow in now to make sure he's not going to be able to do too much to us. Weakness unfortunately missed, switching back into our axes, dealing out some normal damage with the auto attack. Wasting our condition removal here, really. We should have really held back on it. We didn't really need it. I think we were just trying to play it safe in case we didn't have any conditions on us, because our HP is so low. So as that encounter ends, we're on 146 HP, so a damn close fight. So this next clip's on the Battle of Kylo, and we're coming up towards the central node. This is the clock tower, and then we can see an elementalist for the enemy team coming up towards us, and we open up a 6.8k crit there with Eviscerate. So some pretty solid damage. We see his health bar down to about halfway now, already quite early on this fight. We've got a Necromancer joined us, and he's got another Elementalist assisting him. So we fall back at the fight for a second then. A pretty bad dodge roll, actually, we should really state, on the node. We try to come back in with our hammer skill there to stop his churning earth, but unfortunately it misses for some weird reason. It didn't hit properly, and he managed to get through it. So our teammate goes down there in the background. We can see he's down the down state. We go for another Eviscerate there, but didn't crit. Unfortunately, only 2.8k, which is a bit of a shame. That could have done some pretty massive damage and put that Elementalist into the down state. So we're now going to try and get a revive off on our teammate, and this is just a bad moment really in this game. We've got 2 players on us, and he's also got an elemental up, so it's going to be dealing some pretty high damage, and there's no way we're going to be able to heal our teammate enough to actually get him back up on his feet. We do manage to bring the elementalist down into the down state, but there's no way we're going to actually manage to finish him off before they finish off our teammates. So they come in the finisher there. We pop our vengeance, and try to get back up in the game. We open up with a cripple, trying to keep them close to us so we can try and dish out some damage, but they're just jumping off the node and then just basically going to let us bleed out. We've got no way of getting ourselves a kill out of this. There's no chance of us actually reviving. We're going to be brought down to down state. So I'm going to conclude this episode around about here. Don't forget to check back on Wednesday when we're going to have an episode on finishing and reviving. We're going to have a PvP guide, and then on Friday we're going to have an advanced PvP guide looking at finishing and reviving as well. So some pretty good content coming up later in the week. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day.